At this time, I would like to ask the Planning Commission members to make a declaration of any conflict of interest or of any ex parte or outside communication that might influence their ability to hear all sides on any item on the agenda so that they might come to a fair decision. Hearing none, we'll move on. Public comments. Persons wishing to address the City Planning Commission regarding items on the agenda may do so as that item is called. Comments on personnel matters and matters pending in court or with other outside tribunals are not permitted. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Any public comment entered via online chat will not be recognized or commented upon. Any presentation is for informational purposes only. The Planning Commission will take comments under advisement. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda for the July 25th, 2024 minutes. Did anybody have any corrections or changes? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving along. Next item are public hearings. We have 2 public hearings tonight, I believe. One is on the first is on the capital improvements program for 2025 to 2029, and Brianna Snyder will be giving the presentation on that, and I'm going to open the public hearing. Brianna.
Nope. Okay. Tonight we'll be reviewing the capital improvement program, as you said, for the 2025 to 2029. We've discussed this a couple of times at other meetings, but I just wanted to provide a quick overview. A capital improvement program is a multi-year planning document used by the city to identify capital improvement projects and coordinate their financial and timing. The CIP outlines a 5-year plan that highlights projects' priorities and funding sources. This plan is drafted annually and aligns with the city budget process. Next slide. Each year, all city departments review and update cost estimates, project timelines, and funding sources. Additionally, citizens are invited to voice their requests for community improvements. Once these requests are compiled and administrative recommendations are made, the governing body prioritizes the projects from both budgetary and necessity standpoints. And then the Planning Commission is to review the proposed projects and ensures they align with the city comprehensive plan. And then finally, we have the public hearing approved by you guys and subsequently the City Commission. And then the next couple of slides, which were provided in your packet along with detailed from each project, is just the next two slides. And that's really all I had for you. I'll stand for any questions you may have had.
Have there been any additions or corrections since the last time?
Nope, it is exactly the same as we've discussed both times before.
Thank you. Any other questions for Brianna? Zach, do you have anything to add from any of the public meetings you had or anything like that, or is that just?
Not regarding any of these specific items, and again, since we're basing it, my understanding is off of our current adopted plan, it does seem to be fitting all of that. So
okay.
Good to know for the future as we're moving forward, but for this one, we're good.
Is there anybody in the general public that wishes to speak to this? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll need a motion and a second to hold the plan in conformity with the comprehensive plan, the capital improvement program in conformity with the Ottawa Comprehensive Plan, and then will we need a separate motion to recommend passage to the City Commission or not?
No.
Okay. Oh, I know, but I just want to make sure we didn't mess up. Okay. So do we have a motion to find the 2025-2029 capital improvement program in conformity with the Ottawa Comprehensive Plan? Commissioner Kane, is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Stresnick-Dean, would you please call the roll?
Member Kane?
Yes.
Member Harris?
Yes.
Chair Lantis?
Yes.
Vice Chair Crowley?
Yes.
Member Stresnick-Dean?
Yes.
Member Maxwell?
Yes.
approved. Now, under new business, we have nothing listed. Do we have anything under new business?
No.
Okay, under unfinished business, we have the continuance of the public hearing for a conditional use permit application at 1201 West 15th Street, submitted by Clint Arndt on behalf of the Rebecca E. Blau Trust and the Sunflower Care Homes. And I'll reopen the public hearing. And Zach, what do you have?
All right, as stated, again, this is the application for a conditional use permit at 1201 West 15th Street, and this is to allow for a nursing home / assisted living facility as requested by the applicant. A little bit of background, we have seen this a few times before. As you mentioned, this item was moved from our last meeting, and it is the same as the rezoning that is currently working its way through City Commission. But as a reminder, the subject site is a currently undeveloped 4.3 acre tract located along West 15th Street, approximately 0.13 miles from the intersection with Eisenhower. It is surrounded by existing developments with a variety of uses within different residentially zoned districts. To the north, you have homes. To the east is a single-family home, the owner of which is the owner of this property. The west is a church, and to the south, there is an existing nursing home facility, which is Rock Creek. And the applicant is requesting this conditional use permit as a rezoning for the application. A rezoning application for the property is currently being considered by the city. And per section 6-301 of the adopted zoning ordinance, a nursing home or similar facility is allowed only within the R3 zoning district and only within that district by approval of a conditional use permit, which the applicant is requesting this evening. On this side, we have the overview of the property. So on the left-hand side, you have the GIS image of the parcel, and on the right-hand side, you have the updated CUP site plan that was provided by the applicant that met the standards that were outlined within our code. So it includes things like elevation, more detailed information on setbacks, as well as access to the street and other details that are included on there. Here we have a slightly rotated image, but enlarged. This image is also included in your packet for more detail, but it does, again, just cover the basics of what was asked of the applicant that they provided for us, and that was the reason for the movement of the item from the last meeting to this one, as the applicant wanted to make sure that they had addressed those items that needed to be reviewed. So in considering this application and determining a recommendation, staff considered the following factors. First, whether approval of the conditional use would be consistent with the intent and purposes of these regulations. As stated, the R3 district is to provide for a full range of dwelling units from one family to apartments and other related residential and certain public uses, as well as other types of uses like a nursing home. This district is located primarily where moderate to high residential density will be compatible with surrounding uses and development patterns. Per section 6-301, this includes nursing homes, rest homes, convalescent homes, and other type facilities. In this application, staff found that the proposed use would be consistent with the intent and purpose of the proposed zone in which it would be located. The surrounding blocks are zoned a mixture of R1, R2, and R3, which do allow for accommodation of a variety of residential types, which includes an existing nursing home facility to the south, and the proposed use would allow for additional residential types and options for older residents of Ottawa. Whether the location of the proposed use is compatible to other land uses in the surrounding neighborhood. The area immediately surrounding the subject site is comprised of a variety of uses, which does include the aforementioned nursing home facility to the south. So staff found that the proposed use does have an aesthetically compatible existing design with the surrounding neighborhood and would not create negative visual contrast with existing residential uses. The proposed use would be compatible with the surrounding area and allow for additional housing. Whether the proposed use places an undue burden on existing transportation, utility, and service facilities in the area affected, and if so, whether such additional facilities can be provided. It is currently connected to existing facilities, including water and sewer, and includes access to the existing road network, and staff found that the proposed use would not place an undue burden on those existing facilities. Whether the proposed use is made necessary or desirable because of changed or changing conditions in the area affected. As noted in previous cases, there is a high demand for and limited supply of diverse housing options in Ottawa, and the proposed use would provide an alternative for potential residents seeking affordable options for housing and care for older family members and senior residents of the community. Staff found that the proposed use would help meet that growing need for housing in Ottawa, and as the Ottawa community continues to develop and adapt over time, it is important to ensure that there are housing options available to all demographic sectors of the community. The length of time the subject property has remained vacant or undeveloped as zoned. To staff's knowledge, the property has been vacant since its creation as a developable lot, which is approximately 5 years ago. So it's been vacant since that lot at least came into creation. Whether the applicant's property is suitable for the proposed conditional use, it is a larger undeveloped parcel surrounded by a mixture of residential uses as well as institutional uses, which include churches. Staff found that site is suitable for the proposed development, and the proposed use would be the same as an existing use in the immediate vicinity and is of an intensity that would not create burden or significantly impact the surrounding character of the area. Whether the proposed conditional use would be in conformance to and further enhance the implementation of the city's comprehensive plan. One goal of the comprehensive plan is to support the development of affordable and appropriate housing for all segments of the community. Staff found that the proposed use would be consistent with the comprehensive plan based on that goal. The proposed development would address the need of older residents within the city of Ottawa, allowing for appropriate and affordable housing for a segment of the population that can require specific levels of care and consideration. Whether the proposed conditional use, if it complies with all the conditions upon which the approval is made contingent, will not adversely affect the property in the area affected. The surrounding area, as mentioned, is primarily residential, and staff found that the proposed use would not adversely affect neighboring properties. It is designed to be functional and attractive and otherwise meets the standards outlined within the zoning code. Such other factors as the Planning Commission may deem relevant from the facts and evidence presented in the application. This would be applicable on a case-by-case basis, but staff does note that the property is currently undergoing a rezoning to R3, high-density residential, the approval of which would be a condition of approval for this application. And the recommendation of professional staff, staff does recommend that the conditional use permit to allow the development of the proposed nursing home facility be approved, with the condition that the rezoning be approved by City Commission. The project as proposed meets applicable standards and is compatible with the surrounding land use and generally consistent with the neighborhood's physical character, as well as the stated goals and intent of the zoning code and future land use map. So with that, it is recommended that the Planning Commission move this item for consideration at the August 14th, 2024 meeting. Following actions: take final action at the August 14th, 2024 regular meeting. Approve the conditional use permit request at 1201 West 15th, or refer this item to the next regular meeting for continued deliberation and consideration.
Thank you, Zach. Does the applicant wish to address anything tonight? Good to go, okay. Anything else? I guess we will close the public hearing. And we'll ask, do the commissioners have any comments or any questions?
I've got two quick questions. One, I know we carried this over from last time because we were missing some information. Could you remind me what was missing and what answer we got that we now have to work with?
So it was specifically the way the site plan was presented. The original was more of a sort of rendering, and the actual provided document showed things like topography and setbacks from property lines and things of that nature, which are more helpful for us in our actual review and is required through the CUP process.
And will we also be reviewing a final site plan before this is over, or is this the last time we see this?
This would be the last for the conditional use. Typically, I mean, the actual site plan would still need to go through our building review process. It can be brought to Planning Commission. Typically, at that point, it would just be within our office, but.
Okay. Well, in that case, I guess my only question is about the topography actually with that drain that is kind of there. And where does that go? And with all the additional pavement, has anyone reviewed how that might impact wherever that water is going right now?
So it was reviewed by the DRC as part of the original plan, and all of the pavement is located outside of that drainage area. So there shouldn't be any major issues into that drainage portion of it, at least based on review. They have adjusted their drive accordingly. I actually offhand cannot quite remember where the drainage goes specifically, but I do know that that wasn't a concern in our review.
I believe that's the one that runs through there, and then runs on north through. There's a couple of properties down there, and then it runs out to the road. About at the dairy farm, or maybe a little further north, and runs into the ditch, and then runs into the river just shortly thereafter.
So it's not pooling right into property?
No, it goes within not too far in its travels into the floodplain. So
There is a large detention pond located kind of at the northwest corner of that property. I think it's actually somebody else's property, but that drains into that detention pond.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, it actually crosses the road and goes across Yates's Dairy to get to the river.
And I'll also say, depending on the size of this tract,
Mm,
our requirements, there could be a drainage study that would be required for the site plan, which, depending on what the site plan would show, could possibly make the developer put in some type of detention.
Gotcha, okay, thank you.
Anything else? All right, I would entertain a motion to, since we've had no asks to modify the findings, I would entertain a motion to accept the findings as presented.
I'll make that motion to accept the findings as presented.
Commissioner Staristic Dean.
Second it.
Second, Commissioner Harris. Would you call the roll?
Vice Chair Crowley,
Yes.
Member Kane,
Yes.
Member Harris,
Yes.
Chair Lantis.
Yes.
Member Maxwell,
Yes.
Member Stresnick Dean.
Yes,
Thank you. And then would need a motion to recommend approval of the application for conditional use permit to the city commission.
So moved.
Commissioner Harris, is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Maxwell.
Approve.
Approve. I read approve.
He said approved,
I
so
said
I said so
approve.
moved.
I just left the deny off since we had no objections and we had no changes.
just to be clear.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. Would you call the roll?
Member Maxwell,
Yes.
Member Harris,
Yes.
Chair Lantis.
Yes.
Member Kane,
Yes.
Vice Chair Crowley,
Yes.
Member Stresnick Dean.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you all for your patience with us, or our patience with you, or however it worked out. We got it. We're out of here anyway on this one. Staff comments.
I was just gonna give a little shout out to Commissioner Stresnick Dean for helping us with the last comp plan info session that happened last week. Thank you for staying that entire time and opening up the Historical Society doors. We appreciated that, and it was really well attended. So that was solid. We are working on the revisions for Chapter 2 currently, so should have some updates on that here in the coming weeks, and we'll likely have an additional session focused on that chapter in September. Is kind of what we're targeting right now. So updates from me anyway.
I'll just say I always appreciate your participation. Full house tonight,
Full house.
and that we are still seeking an additional member from outside the city within 3 miles.
Any applications?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
So, thank you.
You're welcome. Commissioner comments.
I am working on a prospect. He's currently out of state for military training. That would be a good addition.
Anything else? Nothing. Announcements. August 29th, 2024, we'll have our regular City Planning Commission meeting at noon here in City Hall. And on September the 11th, 2024, 9/11, we'll have a Planning Commission regular meeting at 7 p.m. And is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Done.